Hello, my friends. Thanks for coming. Do you ever wonder what's real? I think we're all thinking about this with artificial intelligence coming in, which actually we've been prepared for a while. My angels and guides some time back said that the next age for humanity is going to become the artificial age. That's what it's going to be called. I did a meditation yesterday with a teacher that was outside of our star system. I want to share that with you. A little bit longer than my usual presentations, but it's absolutely fascinating. So, thanks for coming along for this ride with me. I was with a teacher and I wanted to ask him about the conundrum that we have of reality and illusion, and what some people think is reality seems like an illusion to other people. We always want a consensus. We always want other people to see things the way that we do. But he said, because personally, I'm immersed in nature, the sound of the tree frogs, the flowers, the insects, nature. That's the reality that I want to experience is nature. That's the only reality that I've ever been drawn to experience is the natural world on the planet. But there are people who don't live where there are birds that sing to them, flowers that bloom for them. They're not in relationship with nature the way that I live my life. And so to think of somebody who perhaps lives in an apartment, and yes, they do go out to parks where there are trees and grass and butterflies, and they might take a vacation where there's beautiful nature, but that beautiful nature seems unreal to them. What is real to them primarily is their life, their apartment, their relationships, their devices. Those are more real to them than looking at a tree. So it's all very subjective. Then I mentioned that, and he said, and that's why it's all right for one person, Buddhist person I follow, to think that everything is an illusion, because when he is completely empty, that is what seems real to him. And we have to be very tolerant to each other's subjective experience, because we can never know what another person's reality is. And then I said to him, because I knew he was an ET, that spaceship life is like the most repulsive thing I can even imagine. And he said, isn't your planet called a spaceship? And he said, in a ship, there are so many different realities that can be experienced as real in a spaceship. And so there are as many realities as there are self-awareness or consciousness to experience reality, because we create our reality by what we consistently look for. And so for me, it's clearly always involving nature, always, whether it's raining, whether it's not raining, what's blooming, where the trees are in their process. I mean, this is my complete reality. But my mistake is in assuming that this is the best, or I have the most real reality, because it's so associated with what the earth is offering. And I see only beauty and love and God in nature. But other people see God in animals. They see God in a very kind human. They see God in money. Money is a God to many people. Money is God. And the artificial manipulation of materials into something that they feel is beautiful expresses God. And I'm going to stop this for just a second because I want to show you something. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out here, but it's very close to where I am. A friend of mine just gave me a painting to go over this door. And I know that's probably not quite the right angle, but she's my very favorite painter. And I do think that she paints God. So let's get back to what the ET dude teacher said. All right. He's talking about illusion versus reality. It can't be black or white. It can't be one or the other. For example, I've always had an incredibly healthy body. I've always been able to do whatever I wanted to do. I've survived some things that not a lot of people would just laugh at when it happened with ease. And now my body is very different for whatever reason. And there's no point in even exploring the reason because it's just what is. But because my body is this way and my spiritual nature right now is so expanded and so sensitive that I can't bear to be out with people. I mean, I've become a recluse. I just can't take clearing myself every time I'm around people. It's kind of a waste of energy for me. And my brain is not what it used to be, but my mind is at my most powerful point it's ever been. And so even in the spaceships, he says you would be able to interact because they are so enormous. He says we can interact with many different realities that we create ourselves. And that's exactly what it's like here. You create the reality of what you focus on. That's your reality. And so when you think about the artificial age that's coming up, some people will really embrace it and think it's wonderful. Everything that I create here, everything that I see, touch, taste, feel, smell, hear, where I am in this location, in this focus, is clearly not accessible to many people in the world. And so this shift from thinking that the world with its rocks, its sun, its climate, its water, the breeze, the shift from experiencing the natural world as real is going to completely change to an artificial lifestyle on this planet where the spaceships will be underwater or in space. You will live underwater or you will live in space. There will be, for example, a very bland food type substance. But if we think that it tastes like German chocolate cake that I remember from my childhood, I haven't been able to eat it in a long time. The height of my taste experience, or a pastry, which I long to eat, but I don't. You can imagine that this substance that you're ingesting in this mouth is absolutely the most delicious thing. I mean, even real things like the blueberries and the raspberries that I pick off the bushes and eat right away. So I'm arguing with him a little bit that if you never ate a raspberry off a bush, you don't know what that experience is. He says, no, everything is going to be programmed in. There may not be as many choices of taste experiences in the ships or these eco ships, but everything will be available in an extremely artificial way. The word that I'm hung up on here is illusion. Reality can only be subjective, is his answer. It can only be what a person's own idea of reality is. And I know that they did say an example of how reality is so bizarrely different for someone who has all the money in the world, and they create these fantastical shapes and domes and ships and fabrics and fantastical experiences, jets, and, whatever car they want in any design, what they want to wear, any smell they can access. He says this is part of the range of reality. So I wanted to get back to what are the things that we do have a consensus for in terms of reality? What about causing somebody else suffering? Is that still going to be possible in a completely artificial world, to make people suffer the way it is now with the bombing, the wars, the starvations? Where in devices, young people kill themselves because they put a body on a face of a girl and shame her. In high school, is there going to be any consensus about reality in the future? Or is there always going to be destruction within human nature, no matter what our reality platform is? I asked, is there always going to be a need for justice? How did other human populations evolve to the point where they understood that it was not self-serving to be destructive with what is possible for them to destroy? How did that subjectively come about? Because nobody can even agree now on what is the right way or the moral way to almost do anything. He said that that is kind of a different question from what we've been pursuing here, and I'm not sure how this was answered. Is because everybody's reality is created by them. We don't see it that way. We see reality as something that exists that we interact with. But what is evolving for hopefully all species, because the other species besides humans would not choose to live in a spaceship type environment, and the other species don't choose to destroy each other and to destroy land and resources. The answer that I feel is that the civilizations of humans that have move to the point where they understood and understand choice. Because choice is not understood yet in the human population on Earth. People don't believe that they have choices. And you see this everywhere. The caste system in India, that what's outside of us defines us. People who are born with disease, people who are born in war zones, the enslavement of humans in humanity in many different terrible ways. In a way, artificial intelligence, when you think about what's offered on your devices, that you can either watch or you can watch a documentary about nature and indigenous people, this choice, you don't feel like you have choices here because you feel like physicality is dictating our reality to us. But ultimately, humans evolved in different places or locations to understand that there is no reality except what is known and felt and believed subjectively. And this really is the conundrum of illusion, because humanity isn't ready to accept that. What is on the outside of them is only their own subjective belief. Enough to understand that what's on the inside of them is where the subjective belief comes from. And this takes a very long time for any human population to evolve to. And so, yes, the exterior is created through focus, through attention. You see what you're looking for. You hear what you're listening for, what you select to hear. You feel what you choose to feel. This is not dictated. It is created. And that's the misunderstanding of the word illusion, because it has more to do with choice than anything being dictated. This is what my mother-in-law was trying to say in 1985 when she said humans can do and have and be anything they want, but humanity is not at the point morally where this can happen. That came in 1985. Because there are too many bad actors here that would just destroy everything, because they think by destroying the outside that they're not having any influence on themselves on the inside. They just think that they're not experiencing their actions on the inside, that there's no connection between outside and inside. There's no connection between objective and subjective experience. And when a human population evolves to know that our reality is self-created, then there has to be an evolution also toward choosing to not harm another, choosing the healthiest thing you can do for yourself. You haven't made the transition from objective reality to subjective reality. And this was really the question that you needed to answer for yourself. You're just beginning. There are some people who are beginning to understand this because they understand the greater realities, where anything you want does seem to appear around you in a real way. And I know in the world of spirit, the deceased I've worked with, this is true. And there are people trying to bring this into this dimension, but it's not here yet. And it's certainly not in any of the lower dimensions than 3D. And so you know yourself in the world of spirit and some of the dimensions that I've visited, whatever you believe appears instantly around you. I've experienced that myself. Where in the experience of 3D is that what is around you dictates your experience. And this is basically the difference. And so I asked, in 3D, is there ever going to be this? And he says, of course, you're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. Because whether the trees really exist or not is not the question that you ask yourself every morning when you come out and kiss your maple tree. How you experience the tree isn't it beautiful? And how you experience the birds is to listen to that beautiful song. I said, did I create the song? And they say, yes, because you're listening to it. And I say, did I create the way the light is in the tree? And they said, yes, because you're looking at it. You're experiencing the light in that tree. And in your subjective reality, that's real to you. But somebody else could just drive by your maple tree on the road and have utterly no experience. So in their subjective experience, that tree didn't even exist. So what exists is what you put your focus on, what you put your intention on. That's what exists. And that's what all this alternative holistic medical healing is all about. I'm working with a lot of energy healers right now. What you put your focus on is what's real to you. So whatever prop you need, like the flowers or these frequency healings, that pain is not a part of my experience, that I can eat what I enjoy, anything I want. This is my creation of my subjective experience, that I can't eat anything I want and that my body is in pain. That's my creation. So reality is more from the inside out. But humanity is still fighting the battle with itself here on the planet of good and evil. And that is number one. That's where humanity is here on this planet. And that has to be sorted out before humanity will experience themselves as the ultimate creator. That was an amazing meditation. I would love to hear your thoughts. And please like and share my work if you wish to. Till I see you again, please be well and please be blessed.